Welcome to this week in the world of wrestling.
Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary Ashton, and this is our Lucha Underground Review! Oh my god, what an episode it was tonight. We got great matches on this show. We got great storyline progression. I guess some new storylines, a lot of them coming out of the gate. Some updates on some old ones going on from last week. This show just threw everything at you. Oh, I'm so pumped up right now. Ashton, what'd you think of it?
This was definitely the best Lucha Underground since we've had Aztec Warfare.
Oh, without a freaking doubt, dude. I loved everything about this show from top to bottom.
It's crazy because this show felt longer than an hour because it told so many stories.
This was a very story-driven episode of Lucha Underground. Again, I don't think there was one... There may have only been, like, one match that didn't have any kind of story attached to it, but, like, I would say it's safe to say 95% of the show was story-driven, and that's crazy to think about. So with that said, Ashton, do you have anything else you want to say before we get right into our first segment?
Get into it, brother.
All right, heat of the night. I can't freaking even. That's how great this show was. I have no heats of the night tonight. Ashton, what about you?
I mean, since you didn't really finish, for those of you that are just joining us that have never listened to an episode of TWitWoW before, this is the segment called Heat of the Night, which apparently John just could not say with a serious face because we don't have any tonight. But for those of you, again, who haven't ever heard this show before, Heat of the Night is always our first segment because we always discuss our problems with a show to open up and get the negative out of the way so that we can keep a good positive vibe going throughout the actual review. And I am right there along with you, John. No heats of the night tonight. This show was absolutely incredible. And frankly, if there were flaws, I am overlooking them because this show was just so fun from beginning to end.
So with all of you caught up and updated, it's time to get exhilarated because it's time for our Lucha Underground Review. And we open with a quick recap of everything going on. You know, Johnny Mundo's kind of absence. We see what he's done in Lucha Underground, which teases that he will be on the show tonight. You know, him winning the $100,000. We know about Puma winning the championship and his defenses and his altercations with Cage. Most recently, you know, getting beat down, as well as Conan and having the championship, the Lucha Underground heavyweight title, being ripped in half by Cage. So we're all caught up to speed there.
And what I love about this is that they actually really play up the idea that Johnny Mundo has basically been in a feud specifically with Dario Cueto.
Yeah, I love that, dude. I love that.
And you didn't mention this. We also got a recap of the closing segment from last week, Miss Angela Fong.
That's right.
Talking about how she's looking for Matanza?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I did a little bit of Google work, and apparently that is the Spanish word for slaughter.
Oh my god, which makes sense because I think we got a pretty nice clue, or just all out just being told who Matanza is. So, for the most part, and we'll get into that a little bit later, but yeah, we got a nice video package there. And then, Ashton, we didn't get a cinematic open, right? We got a cold open in the ring, didn't we? With Son of Havoc and Ivelisse, right?
Yeah, they opened things up, and immediately Ivelisse gets on the mic, and she's pissed. She's talking about how she's tired of reading about Son of Havoc on Twitter, people talking about him being bad and that he sucks, and she says she doesn't date losers, and if anyone has a problem with him, you have a problem with her too. And then she calls herself the baddest bitch in this building.
Yeah, she does. And then we see the emergence of Angelico. So these two, Son of Havoc and Angelico, are going to have our opening contest. And dude, what a fun opener this was. And I really have to
I'm going to
emphasize
say
the word fun.
right now, Angelico has become one of my guys. Like, I've always been a fan of, you know, like your Daniel Bryan, your Dolph Ziggler, your Seth Rollins. You know, I've always been, and I mean, even in Lucha Underground, like Drago and Phoenix and those kind of guys. But there are certain guys that I kind of pick out, and I specifically refer to them as my guys, not because I necessarily like them the most, just because I feel like I like them more than almost everyone else. And like on WWE for the longest time, Justin Gabriel was one of those guys, but now he's gone, so I'm looking forward to seeing what he gets to do. But Angelico is definitely getting to that. And another guy like in NXT, Ty Dillinger, is a guy that I have absolutely loved for a while now, but he's basically still just a jobber, and nobody really talks about how great he is. But Angelico definitely is in that realm right now. He's one of my guys. He's one of those guys who I've really, after 2 matches, and that's all it took, was 2 matches, and I immediately am drawn to this guy. He is freaking awesome. There is a really huge and at the same time really quiet charisma about him that there's something just alluring about it, man. I don't know. There's something about this guy. Certain things that he does, facial expressions and mannerisms, certain things that he does reminds me of Dean Ambrose a little bit. He's 6'3", which is basically a giant in the world of Lucha Underground. I mean, even the giants that we have in Lucha Underground, like Cage, are under 6 feet tall. So for a guy to come in that's 6'3", yeah, he's a pretty big guy relative to everyone else. And standing next to Son of Havoc, who there's no way he's any taller than like 5'8". He looks like a freaking tall, like a twin tower, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I mean, dude, you and I were talking about it. I think the excitement really was this was Angelico's first one-on-one bout. I think Son of Havoc, I even said to you as Angelico was making his entrance, that Son of Havoc is the perfect opponent for a guy like Angelico, and boy, I mean, did he ever prove it. These guys went out, they had such a fun bout. To your point, we were talking about that too as the match was progressing. There is like a Dean Ambrose-esque quality to Angelico. I also got a little bit of like an Alex Shelley kind of vibe a little bit from him with his look and everything.
Yeah, and I was even going to say, there's almost like a weird, like if you would take Dean Ambrose and Justin Gabriel and take the demeanor of those two guys and then take Dean Ambrose's facial expressions and put that all into a 6'3" frame, that would be Angelico.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, don't take our word for it, guys. I mean, in this matchup, he had some crazy offense. 2 of the most notable things that I remember, he got a nice knee in the corner, like way up high. He did just a standing jumping knee to kind of knock the guy into the corner, and then he throws him into the opposite corner and does a running jumping knee, and it looked brutal. It did. And then there was another point where I think he did like a leg sweep and then like a kick to the head, but he had the extension on his leg, so it looked, I think they called it almost like a soccer kick or whatever to Son of Havoc's head. So,
it was. I've done this before. It was, if you remember that one episode of Bob's Burgers, sexy dance fighting.
Oh yeah, Capoeira. I think it is.
Capoeira.
Okay, yeah. I'm never going to be able to pronounce that right, so future apologies to everyone.
Capoeira, yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is.
Yeah, because I know Mundo does a lot of that too.
Yeah.
But he also did like a vault over the ropes, and he landed on his feet, so that kind of gave me like an NXT kind of like vibe, Adrian Neville and all them. And yeah, Angelico, I think is going to be a really exciting match.
Let's not take anything away from Son of Havoc. He had some awesome stuff in this match too.
Yeah, and really, while we're speaking of Son of Havoc, dude, this crowd was behind him big time in this match.
This crowd, I like that this crowd is really kind of starting to pick who their favorites are.
Definitely. They're starting to form, I guess, their own identity in relation to the product, and they strike me like the type that would be, like, really loyal, kind of like an old-school ECW kind of crowd. Like, maybe be a bit harsh to the outsiders at first, and they got to earn the acceptance and the trust. Yeah. But since Son of Havoc has been there a while, I mean, Vampiro, I think, even noted that on commentary. But I did hear, I think, support for Angelico as well, so it's not like...
yeah, there were a lot of dueling chants in this match.
Yeah, I really like that. I think the atmosphere was so on point. Son of Havoc, again, staying on him. He did a nice standing moonsault at one point that looked beautiful. And I'll say this about Lucha Underground, and I think Son of Havoc is a great testament to this. If he is supposed to be a joke character, then he is far more credible than any other joke character I've seen in other promotions, because his offense is beautiful. And he really is a guy that you could see like getting the job done in any given match, so long as he stays focused and things, fall into place. At the end, they did some great teases with Ivelisse. That's what I was trying to think, because he tried rolling him through, but then Angelico kind of moved out of the way, and Son of Havoc almost punched Ivelisse. Then Angelico almost punched Ivelisse, and it was just this back and forth thing until finally Son of Havoc speared Ivelisse by accident, and he got caught in a pinning combination by Angelico, and that was the 3 count. So, yeah, Angelico gets the win, dude.
Yeah, this match, it's one of those things where I don't know if I would necessarily say that this match was just amazing in general, but the one word that I keep coming back to is that this match was just plain fun.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I said in the beginning. Like, this was just a really fun opener. I think the kind that really lays the groundwork for the rest of the show and really just gets you excited and reminds you where you are, and that is Lucha Underground. So big ups to everybody. And where we get our first kind of story tease, because I said at the start of the show this is a very story-driven episode. You know, in the post-match, Son of Havoc, I think, is trying to console Ivelisse, check on her, and she's not having any of it. She is pissed, and she goes to the back. And I love that fans in the front row are just looking right at Son of Havoc and chanting at him that he effed up.
Yep.
Just great. So
and it's
awesome
even
stuff.
Funnier to me because the network had to censor it.
Yeah, I know, right?
You just hear, you beep up, you beep up, you beep up.
Yeah, awesome.
That was hilarious. But, yeah, this, I don't know. I feel like Ivelisse hasn't really been with Son of Havoc the whole time, has she?
I don't think the whole time. I feel like she was with him, I guess, starting his second week with Lucha Underground, because I don't remember her, like, joining him in his first week. It was either the second or third week she...
Oh, that's right. Didn't she team up with him in the second week to take on Chavo and Sexy Star?
I believe you're right, yes.
Yeah. But then that was when they were just teaming up, though. We didn't really see them as a couple at that point yet.
Yeah, not yet, and I don't know so much about now after what happened here. I mean,
yeah.
Ivelisse can say she doesn't.
I mean, heck, dude, how great would it be if this led to Ivelisse versus Son of Havoc?
That would be awesome.
Like,
yeah, I could
talk about the ultimate storyline, man.
Definitely.
Oh, see, that's one thing that I love about Lucha Underground is that they aren't constricted to having just men versus men and women versus women. Like, if a dude pisses a woman off, she can fight him.
I love that. I think that actually has an empowering quality to it if they always handle it the right way. So,
yeah.
Let's see what happens.
And if Matt Stryker doesn't perv out on it.
Exactly.
But, yeah, up next, we had a backstage segment with Johnny Mundo. It's Mundo and Cueto, and they're having a little bit of a discussion. They kind of come to, like, this kind of an awkward, almost like a friendly agreement where Johnny Mundo just kind of agrees that, yeah, we're cool. And Cueto sets up Mundo versus Cage.
Yeah, I mean, Cueto, given all appearances, he wants to bury the hatchet with Mundo, this and that. It's a fresh start, he tells Mundo. And Mundo's like, you know what, we do agree on something. I am ready to compete. So he's not totally buying it, but he does have these closing words for Cueto. He says, I heard your belt got ripped up. You better get a new one. And he puts his sunglasses on and he leaves. Aw, yeah. Good stuff.
Because he's planning on winning it.
You bet he is! Yeah!
I figured you would appreciate that. But, yeah, this was cool. Not really a whole lot to say about this specific segment because, I mean, really, all the words to be spoken come later in the night.
Definitely.
Up next, we had Famous B versus Pentagon Jr. But before the match actually gets started, we have a Pentagon Jr. vignette. This is actually the second one that we've gotten so far. The first one explained that he was a sort of a combination of a luchador and a samurai. And this one, he explained that he combines Mexican lucha libre with traditional Japanese martial arts, like taekwondo and that kind of stuff. And then he has the new catchphrase, Cero Miedo, which means zero fear.
I love it, dude. I love it. I think Pentagon Jr. is finally really getting that identity even more so. I love the sense of continuity that we are building on his martial arts background. And, yeah, it was a great vignette, dude. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, this is the quality that I've come to expect from Lucha Underground at this point.
And isn't that great to say that we really have a standard for them now because they've been so consistently good.
Yeah.
That, we have this conceived expectation for them to fulfill. It's awesome.
It is. It really is. And the fact that they live up to it consistently, too. So then we get into the match itself. And you know what, dude? I'm going to go ahead and say it. This was a squash match.
Yeah, I think this is one of the rare squash matches that Lucha Underground actually
and it wasn't even
had.
really like your exhibition style squash match, which is something that NXT has been famous for. It was a full, like, Famous B got one offensive maneuver. He hit one arm drag, and then he had a cool, like, little nip up. But other than that, Pentagon Jr. just destroyed him.
Yeah, he really did.
And you know what the craziest part about it is?
What's that?
The crowd was chanting Cero Miendo the entire time. They are behind Pentagon Jr.
I love that he has a catchphrase now, too, because I think that goes such a long way. Especially when it's just a succinct little soundbite like that Pentagon Jr. has made for himself. So,
and it's something that isn't particularly difficult to pronounce if you're an English speaker.
Yeah, exactly. That's such a great point, dude. So it's able to have that crossover appeal.
Yep.
Yeah, dude, I think things are really coming together for Pentagon Jr. character-wise and just booking-wise. He may have a great rest of this year, and we're only in February.
The crowd was so behind him, and it's crazy because he's basically a heel. Like, he hit a package pile driver, which, I mean, by any definition is a heel finisher. But rather than going for the pin, he locked in this cool submission move where he kind of keyed up the arm with his left leg and then reached over to the other arm and put Famous B into what was basically a Fujiwara armbar.
Yeah, and Famous B just shook his head violently, exclaiming, yes, I give up. So Pentagon Jr. actually with the submission win, and then Pentagon Jr. gets on a microphone and he says, I am loyal to my master, and I think he pretty much just says, I'm ready, because I'm Pentagon Jr., zero fear. So I guess Pentagon Jr., I don't want to use the term servant because I think that's beneath Pentagon Jr., I'll call it an apprenticeship. To whoever is waiting in the wings.
I wonder who it might be.
I wonder as well. I mean, you and
because for the longest time
had an idea. Because remember,
we both thought that it was Del Rio.
Yeah.
But we had something a little later on in the night that might refute that.
Exactly. So I wonder who it could be. And whoever it is, do they really have Pentagon Jr.'s best interest at heart, or is this is going to be another portrayal like Chavo Guerrero Jr.? We'll see.
Yeah, that's a good... See, I wouldn't have asked that question, so I guess I'm too trusting.
Well, apparently so is Pentagon Jr., because he didn't have that alliance with Chavo Guerrero not too long ago, and then already he's like under the, again, apprenticeship is all used, with somebody else. So
he's just a follower. He needs to be more of a leader.
And maybe that's the end game here, because I'm... Pentagon Jr. is growing.
Oh, how great would it be if we got a faction in this promotion? Oh, my God.
Oh, dude, I think that's the one thing we're missing. Because I know we have Cueto's little alliance thing that he's got going on.
They aren't even really a thing anymore, are they?
I mean, I guess.
Especially since they beat Big Rick up.
Doesn't bail. I mean, Yeah, I mean, Big Rick really was, I think, the glue that held everything together because he was just such a powerhouse freak. But I don't know. I think a faction kind of like what you're thinking of definitely could be needed in Lucha Underground. I'd love it.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Up next, we had a couple of backstage segments. I'm not completely sure what order they were in, but I do know that we had one with Katrina and one with Cueto in front of the cell. So, John, whichever one you want to cover first, go for it.
I guess we'll do the one with Katrina first. With it was who was it? Phoenix, you said?
Yeah, it was Phoenix.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on. He is training. And she comes over, and she talks about this tattoo on his chest. I guess it's some kind of symbol. Did she say fear or nightmares? What term did she use, Ashton? That keeps him away, apparently, is what that tattoo says. Nightmares? She asked, do you wear this to keep the nightmares away? Why would a man that never dies have to worry about that? And then she says, I have a message for you. And you can see she's being, quite sensual, quite flirtatious. And she says, but it's not from Mill, it's from me. And then she kisses Phoenix, which I'm like, what? Seth Rollins style. And then she's like, be sure not to tell Mill about this or he'd bury us both. And I'm like, what is going on right now? Ashton, what'd you think of it, brother?
First of all, I love that they're teasing at a little bit of a dissension amongst the ranks as far as Mil Muertes goes. Second of all, I love that this might potentially lead to a Phoenix heel turn.
Yeah, that could be very interesting.
Did you think about that one, John?
I did, actually. I did, and I do like the sound of it because, he is this really high-flying, exciting competitor, and he's a smaller guy, too, and it's not often we see guys that have the Ariel Repertoire and are small in stature play that kind of heel role, I'd be very interested to see what Phoenix could do if it is going to be a turn.
For sure. And, I mean, regardless, I think that there is a degree of real life in this because Mil Muertes is on a little bit of a downward spiral. He just lost a big singles match against Phoenix too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was actually. So
see, this could be going one of two ways. This could be her wanting to be in the corner of a winner, or it could be her manipulating Phoenix so Mil could get his win back.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, do you think it could be a long con? And maybe it is.
The beautiful thing is, for all the expectations that we have for this promotion, this is, as far as storylines go, we don't know where they're going to go with this.
We really don't. Just when I thought I had Mil Muertes and everything figured out, you actually, in our last Lucha Underground review on TWitWoW, you seemed to have kind of a game plan laid out for Mil, where it seemed like he was going to be this babyface whatever and kind of, have his redemption at some point. But now, Phoenix is this.
And that's another beautiful thing, too, because what I was laying out was kind of like a Wrestling 101 storyline. And Lucha Underground says, ha, 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 you can take your basic wrestling stories and you can shove them.
Yeah, more or less, and I love it.
I know.
Good stuff, man.
It's glorious, man. I love this freaking promotion.
But you want to talk about glorious and loving this promotion.
Whoa. You're skipping around. We have our Dario Cueto segment now.
I was going to get to that.
I thought you were getting to the main event. My bad.
No, I'm not jumping out. I know.
Right.
Cueto.
In front of the cage.
In front of the cage.
Not the person, the actual thing, the cage.
What I was getting ready to say, yes, thank you for the qualification. What I was getting ready to say was, you want to talk about, loving this promotion and thinking they're so amazing. They have been building this, I think, since episode 1, Ashton. I think episode 1 we got a tease of Cueto looking at something, and then he starts talking to it, and there has just been so much build behind who is in that cage. And he's talking to him, says, she's looking for you. He says that she used to have this name, and I can't remember what name she used to have.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
I can't recollect it, but it must translate out into something. And he says, I can't let you ruin this temple. I can't let her find you. So he can't let any of these things happen. And he refers to whatever is behind there as Matanza. And then you see its shadow, and good God, if it's any indication, it looks like a freaking behemoth. And now understand, folks, for those of you that have watched our reviews in the past, I know I've thrown that word around with Roman Reigns and others. No, you don't understand. This thing looks massive, whatever it is. I looked at it, and I'm like, holy crap, Cage may be a dwarf by comparison to whatever is behind there.
I'm telling you, man, it's freaking Super Mex. It's Hernandez. I'm telling you, they might put a mask on him or give him face paint or something so that he's unrecognizable and he just goes running around and flying around like this ridiculous giant luchador, but I think that's who it is.
Dude, if that is the case and you're correct, he will murder people, okay? You're all done. It's over. Whatever new championship you're making, I love Mundo, but screw it. Just give it to him. It's it's done. He's a freak. And if that is the case, I'll pop freaking huge. So I just I love the dedication of Lucha Underground to this game plan. Because again, this is one of their earliest storylines. Again, if I'm remembering correctly, one of their first really big storylines, and it's still building. And it's building in a way, dude, that I haven't gotten bored yet. Because every new development just leaves me wanting more until he either breaks out of that cage or Cueto out of his own volition lets him out. I can't wait, dude.
I'm looking at the Lucha Underground roster right now.
Yeah.
And there are only 2 people that we have not seen yet.
Okay.
Magnificent Martin. Real name Martin Casillas. This is the dude that was on Tough Enough that got injured and had to leave early even though everyone thought he was going to win.
Okay.
And Sean Hernandez.
Sean Hernandez. Do either of them look all that intimidating or imposing?
You know who Sean Hernandez is. Super Mex. 6'4".
Okay, so
Dude, he's 6'4", almost 300 pounds. He's huge.
I heard Hernandez, and I assumed that it was our Hernandez, but I've never heard him have the name Sean, so it kind of threw me off a little bit.
His real name is Sean Hernandez.
Okay, well, I learned something new today, but yeah.
Magnificent Martin, I think he's only like a 6-footer.
Yeah, that's not going to work, especially
6'2". He's 6'2", but he's only 220, so he's not a giant.
Yeah,
But
Supermax definitely has the build and the look, because, I remember him from TNA.
The only downside that I can think of as far as Supermax goes is that the dude is like 41 years old.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, given all the older competitors we've seen compete at a certain level, in Lucha Underground and other places, I'm not concerned about that. As far as I'm concerned, this wrestling business is proving to me that 40 is like the new 35 or what the hell ever. Like, it's nuts.
Yeah, I mean, dude, look at Pimpinella Escarlata.
I know, right? Just crazy.
That dude is ridiculous.
So when do you think, dude? I mean, do you think in 3 more weeks, another month? Like, what?
I wish there was an easier way to find out when how many, like with NXT, we can see like these are like, even if you don't click through to see the spoilers, you can see these are the spoilers from this date to that date. Like, I wish there was something available where you could see how many episodes of Lucha Underground have already been taped.
Yeah, that would be.
If we could know that, I would say whatever the last episode is.
Yeah, really.
From the most recent taping. That'll probably be when the reveal is.
Yeah, exactly. There's no way to really gauge when the payoff's going to come. But you know what? I'm cool with it, man. I'm cool with it. Keep raising my expectations only to be like, just another week, and then do it again and again and again until finally I don't even get fed up with it. Matanza gets fed up with it, and he rips the bars out. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting. My only thing is, I wonder if they maybe signed somebody but didn't let the word get out, and they don't have it on the Wikipedia page, and nobody knows about it, and it's just somebody that we don't know about. But pending that happening, I'm convinced it's Hernandez.
Absolutely. So, what's next, brother?
The main event.
No, wait, actually, you forgot about one match. We had Drago versus Aerostar tonight.
Oh, yeah, we did. Oh, my gosh. Wow. My note-taking skills. I must have completely forgotten to even write anything down about that match.
Well, it feels good for me to be clutch for a change.
Hey,
Jesus.
There you go, brother. Way to go. Yeah, man. Here's my thing, though. This match was good, but it didn't stand out. Maybe that's why I forgot, because it really didn't stand out.
And you know what, dude? I have to say, I don't blame you at all, because this match wasn't horrid by any means. I don't want to make people believe that.
No, it was a good match. Like, if this match would have been on a random WWE show, it would have been the best match on the card, probably.
Yeah. And, but to me, all that really stood out to me was the finish.
Yeah. That
Drago got the blockbuster DDT, like, off the ropes, got the pin, and then they had good sportsmanship afterwards. So yeah, Drago gets a win after, losing in his bout with King Cuerno, and it's good to see him back on like an upward trajectory. I don't know where Aerostar is going to go, but he's still like a nice good hand to put on those good matches with and be kind of like that supplemental talent, it seems like, for the time being, until maybe something else comes his way.
I'm telling you, man, Aerostar is El Generico before El Generico was cool, because he is the definition of a generic luchador.
Yeah.
He is everything that you expect a luchador to be. Nothing more, nothing less. He's just that. That's it. He is just, he might as well just call himself El Luchador, because he's just the luchador. He's just that guy.
Exactly. But with Lucha Underground, I wouldn't be surprised if that changed on a dime one week. So we'll have to see what happens in his future. But now,
one thing that he does do consistently that I really like is the top rope 619.
Yeah, that's really cool.
He did that again in this match, too, and it's just like, wow, like, if he can do that, why did Rey Mysterio force me to sit through all of these horribly unbelievable setups all these years?
I know, right? So, there's definitely something there, and that's what I love about Lucha Underground. It has such a deep roster and such a diverse roster, and just all the right components, and Aerostar definitely has a place, a place for everything in its place, so good stuff. And now we can talk about the main event, because holy crap.
It was awesome.
Oh, God. Guys, first of all, let me just get my marky mark out of the way. It's great to see Mundo back in a ring, and you can ask this guy.
You set your marky mark aside. Johnny Mundo is, and say what you want about Prince Puma, Johnny Mundo is the most over babyface in Lucha Underground.
I love it, man. I love it. It's so good.
And you know what's really weird is that you would expect guys like Prince Puma, Drago, Phoenix to be kind of close, maybe like a close second. It's not even close. This dude is a freaking rock star in Lucha Underground.
I love it, dude. I love it. Because, you know, I think that's what I always wanted for him in hindsight. Because, you know, I'm like a mark for those championships and stuff like that. But really, I think this is what I wanted, for him to be
You're
like
a Johnny
top guy
Mundo,
somewhere.
Mark, and all you've ever wanted was for everyone else to be a Johnny Mundo.
Yeah, and now I'm in the right place. It's like a homecoming. And just, I mean, you can ask Ashton, guys. I freaked out. They sucked me in easy.
So many times.
So many.
Like,
they do it to
I
me.
seriously think we need to start doing live reactions just to Johnny Mundo matches so these people can get an idea.
Because it's like, I really should get that, I don't know what the psychological term is, but that negative reinforcement, because I should know better. I should know better, but every freaking time they do this
The ability to compartmentalize.
Yeah, just so good.
Set your markdom aside for a moment, take in the situation, realize what the predictable, realistic outcome is, and then maybe bring your marquee side back into it for a moment. But
yeah, you know, like, I think that is kind of what happens, because before we go to this match, I'm telling you, I'm like, oh, Ashton, Mundo's gonna die. It's over. Gonna kill him. And then we get to the match, and I'm like, yeah, we can win this one. Just like, what the heck? What am I doing? But guys, to get focus here, because, you know, I always like to put that aside and give it real analysis. Cage is freaking awesome. Okay? Like,
he can do literally anything.
He really, and dude, we'd be remiss if I didn't mention this right now, because I know if I don't now, I'm gonna forget it. His entrance, he comes out wearing the broken Lucha Underground Championship.
Yep, he has it. It's strapped, like the actual, the buckle part, the actual part that connects around the back, he has that connected, but because the front is torn apart, he has it draped over his neck.
I just want to say very quickly, I think Cage as a whole is a huge victory for Lucha Underground. I'm not even just talking about the performer himself. I'm talking about how they've handled him, because I was so scared. I'm like, okay, are they giving him too much too fast? And I feel like the way they've handled him has been so brilliant. I've loved it, dude. He has come into his own so quickly as, like, this top heel, and he is just a freak. And I think Mundo was the perfect opponent, given the selling ability and just, like, his stature and everything. You know, when you stack him up against a guy like Cage, there was one point he was, like, on the apron, and he tried kicking Cage off because Cage picked the leg, but then Cage takes him into, like, a powerbomb position, and he power bombs him into the steel post, like, on the back of his neck and stuff. It looked brutal. And Cage is a guy that he imposes his will, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. It's awesome.
Yep.
The athleticism, because this guy's a freak too. There was one point he did like a slam, and then he goes to the top rope, and then he does like this rotation, like he leaps up, kind of rotates, and then does a moonsault, but he doesn't connect with it. But still, the form was perfect. I almost wish he would have connected, and we just would have made it a near fall attempt, because that was too good to miss. Just so good. Mundo got his offense in, which Ashton's like, wow, you must have been watching him so long, because I pretty much telegraphed that offense. I was like, oh, calf kick, oh, knee strike. And so, yeah, he got his stuff in. He also did this really cool thing at one point. Cage tried to retreat to the outside, and Mundo does like a corkscrew body press all the way like to the other corner. So not even like off the ropes, but from one turnbuckle to the next. And all the while, and then I'll give it back to Ashton, King Cuerno was perched atop, above the audience and everything, watching his prey.
How cool of just a visual was that, though?
That was awesome. And I think it's so apropos for the gimmick.
Yeah.
That this hunter is just looming over everyone.
I don't know if there is a more well-executed gimmick in wrestling right now than King Cuerno. Because he is the hunter and everything about him, from the segments that he isn't even technically a part of, but he's just watching, to the entrance, all the way down to the in-ring psychology. Everything screams hunter.
And you know what the funny thing is about King Cuerno, and I don't mean this as a knock on Lucha Underground, because I love this promotion to death, but we have like a lot of colorful performers in terms of attires and moves. I think Cuerno might be one of the few with like a fully developed like character, where like even his mannerisms go back to what he says he is, and that's like this hunter. He's just like this fully realized kind of performer, and I love it. And it's funny because after that corkscrew that I had talked about, I think that's when Cuerno actually begins to descend, and he comes closer and closer, and I'm like, oh crap. And then I'm like, no, you know what? This is good. This is good, because then he'll attack Mundo and we'll get the win, because I'm such a cheap bastard. I'll take the win any way I can get it.
Hooker crook.
Hooker crook, baby, you know it. And Mundo gets Cage back in the ring, and then he's on the apron, but then Cuerno pretty much trips him up, and he falls on his back. Referee calls for it, so I'm like, yeah, we win. And then Cuerno resumes like attacking the neck, and I'm like, oh crap, I forgot, bad stuff. And so Cuerno's really putting the boots to Mundo, and then he like wraps him up in the steel post and kind of rams his leg in there, and then he gets a steel chair with the leg isolated, and he hits it. And then Cueto the sleaze bag comes out. He's like, wait, because Cage, by the way, he's ascending up the stairs. He's like, I could be angry, but I got better stuff to do, so he's starting to leave. And then Cueto stops everybody, and he's like, Mundo, now that we're on the same page and we're best friends again. I'm like, oh, you douche. He's like, I'm not going to let your 5-star matches end like that. So this match is restarted. Of course, I mean, screw Mundo's well-being. I'm pissed that we got the win thrown out. Cage comes back in, and I'm like, oh, crap, but I gotta give credit to Lucha Underground. They still worked me over something fierce, because I thought Cage was going to be like one and done, and they still had a really, at least in my opinion, enthralling final few minutes, dude.
In your opinion, it might as well be fact, dude. It was awesome.
Dude, it was so good, because Cage actually starts working over the leg and gave some good power offense, but then at one point he tries going. Well, actually, he hits his F5. I thought it was over there. But
dude, you're skipping the craziest part. He actually locked in a friggin' stretch muffler.
Oh, the stretch muffler. Yeah, that's when I thought it was going to be over at first. Cause I thought
and that was the moment where I said, this dude can do literally anything, because he has all the power moves that you could ever ask for. That's on lockdown. He's got a moonsault. He's got, from what I understand, he can do a 450, which I want to see. And now he's got a submission in his arsenal. Are you kidding me? Is there anything that Cage can't do?
And not just any submission, dude. I think a submission that's just perfect for just who he is. Because
right.
I mean, Brock Lesnar.
It's the Brock Lesnar submission, exactly.
Yeah, it's the Brock lock. So
he basically is Lucha Underground's version of Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, he really is. And
I mean, even if you want to go back to WrestleMania, I believe it was 17 or 19, one of the two.
It was 19.
He did a friggin' shooting star, and I think
that was 19.
I'm pretty sure Cage can do one too.
Yeah, at this point, I wouldn't doubt it. So I wouldn't have blamed Lucha Underground game like they had Mundo tap out here, but I was surprised that they got to the ropes. Then Cage hits the F5, and then again, that's like another near fall. So I'm like, oh, what are you doing to me, Lucha Underground? But then I lost my shit when Cage was going for the triple powerbomb, and Mundo actually rolled through, and he got the roll up.
Yep.
I thought it was going to be like a quick 3-count upset, but Cage actually kicks out. Yep. He hits the disc.
So he has ring awareness, too. He's got everything.
He does, and I love it, because you know what? They made the right call here. I mean, again, marked him purely aside, and I got my fill tonight. They made the absolute right call here, because he hits the discus lariat, which just looked devastating. I thought he was going to pin him there, but no, we get Weapon X, and I think it's safe to say that unlike last week where it looked a little bit messed up, this was perfectly executed.
And I love that he hit that discus lariat as well.
Yeah.
And then he said, you know what? I could probably get the win off that, but this guy has earned my respect. I'm going to go for Weapon X and really put him away.
Yeah, just to really put the final nail in it. And this is why, and I'm so glad that I've embraced this mentality more as I've gotten older. Like, wins and losses are totally insignificant, because Mundo looked like a beast here.
Yeah.
And Cage just continues to look like the heel that he should look like. Lucha Underground, and I always say this with a bit of tentativeness with any promotion I love, because I never want them to forego it and screw it all up. But as of right now, I think they're doing virtually everything right. And it's awesome. I love it. This is a great main event. And we weren't even done there, but before we get into that, I mean, Ashton, do you have any other remarks you want to make about Cage, Mundo, this match, just anything?
Do you know what my heat of the night is, John?
Oh my God, what is it?
The fact that we have to deal with the fact that Lucha Underground and NXT are on the exact same time slot right now.
I know, right? It's not fair that we have to share.
That's my heat of the night. I want to be able to watch them on different days so that we can review them on different days and just spend the rest of the night basking in their glory.
I know, right?
But now it's like we have to get into the Lucha Underground state of mind and we have to review that, and that's always so amazing, and then we never want to forget that, but then we get right into the NXT state of mind and then we have to review that, and it just, man, it's too much amazing for one night.
I know, dude, you don't know how many times when I do my closer for Raw, how tempted I am to say, like, NXT when I mean Lucha Underground, or Lucha Underground when I mean NXT, so I get what you're saying all around.
Man,
but, yeah.
like that, yeah, that's my freaking heat of the night.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Screw this! But great show, man. And again, we're not even done there, and I guess because you don't have anything else to say, I can go on about that. Because Cueto's on the phone, I think, still dealing with this whole Angela Fong Matanza thing, and he gets a knock on the door. It's like, hey, show's over. And I think our mystery guest here says, no, it hasn't even gotten started. And then, yes, it's revealed. It's Alberto, I guess, El Patron.
Yep.
And he says,
my name is Alberto El Patron, but you already knew that. Wink.
Smile. Exit.
Yes. Oh, see, this is the Del Rio that I grew to love. Before he started getting the freaking percussions added to his theme music, and he lost Ricardo, and he lost the freaking car entrance, back when he actually had a character to him.
Yeah, definitely.
And now we're going to get that character on Lucha freaking Underground. Dude, he's going to get to work with Johnny Mundo.
Well, I remember the last time they worked together on that Raw squash match, so bad memories there. But I think it'll be a more.
They're going to get to have a competitive match, though.
Yeah, this time, baby, this time. And you know what? Let me just say something on a personal note, or real quick. I have to give El Patron, as I'm going to refer to him, a lot of credit because he put Lucha Underground over big time. He gave an interview because people asked him, "Why didn't you sign with Impact Wrestling?" And he said, I owe it to Lucha Underground because they helped me a lot with my WWE situation. Apparently they paid his legal fees. They bent over backwards for him, more or less. And he said, I owe them one, and they're a great place. And he said they offered me a great deal. So he really put him over. He gave them the credit they deserved. And second of all, not just him doing it, but if it really is true that Lucha Underground put in all that effort for one guy, kudos to them for going that far and really showing like, yeah, we're a good company and we stand by the talent we're interested in. That is really cool. So I just wanted to say that as a personal note now that he's formally arrived. Dude, Lucha Underground keeps upping its game. Just awesome.
Absolutely.
Anything else you want to say before I close this out?
I really just want to put over the fact that this is... See, it's so hard because I wanted to say this is the best promotion going, but this and NXT, and that's where my problem resides, because I love this and NXT are my two favorite brands in the wrestling world right now. Like, if PWG had a weekly episodic show that they could run, that would be incredible, and that would probably be in the same realm as this, but like, New Japan on Access, it's just showing old matches, and the commentary is great and all, but it's just not the same as having an up-to-date, regularly updated episodic television show, which is what NXT and Lucha Underground are. And I don't know, I just love these two shows so much, and they really are the two best things going in the world of wrestling right now, in my opinion. And I just wish that they would be not on the exact same day and the exact same time.
I totally understand your plight, but honestly, if that's our biggest problem, and good God, on Wednesdays, I think we have it pretty well right now, given.
But I mean, heck, as far as Lucha Underground goes, I think that the stuff that I'm looking forward to most, first of all, the guy in the cage, the guy in the prison, in the jail cell, that reveal is going to be amazing. Angela Fong, whether she's looking for him to manage him or looking for him to get somebody who she happens to be managing at the time to attack him, or I don't know, like what's going to go down there. And then, of course, the championship. Are we going to get a new championship? What's going to happen? Is Puma going to be off TV for a couple weeks to sell the beatdown? Like this whole everything, just everything about this promotion. It's like you said, they can do no wrong at this point.
Absolutely. So I guess real quick, because I actually almost forgotten all the excitement, we might as well discuss high spots and low shots very quickly. I mean, heck, Jesus. You know what? My low shot's gonna be Son of Havoc this week. He
Yeah.
lost. Yeah, he lost to Angelico, and he may have lost Ivelisse.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a great pick.
Okay, who's your low shot?
My low shot is, you know what? I'm going to say my low shot is actually Drago.
Good choice, good choice.
Because even though he did win a match, it was a very forgettable match. And it seems to me he's been demoted because King Cuerno is up with playing with the big dogs, going after Johnny Mundo in a match involving a guy that just fought for the championship a week before. And now Drago is relegated to fighting a guy who hasn't really done anything of note in this promotion yet.
Yeah, that's a great point there. To roll right or wrong, my high spot is Cage.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Mundo to death, but Cage made an impact tonight. Had another phenomenal matchup. So you know what? I'll admit I was a doubter first because again I had the question: are they giving him too much too fast? But he has earned it, man. He's earned his keep, and I just can't wait to see what he does next. He just has this aura that he exudes. He's got a great attitude. I love again the little things like wearing the broken belt, almost like as like part of his attire. It's awesome. So yeah, Cage is my high spot this week. Guy's been on an incredible roll.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of tempted to make Phoenix my high spot because he got some pretty great action tonight.
Yeah, I know, right?
But you know what? Even though he did lose, by all means, my high spot is still Johnny Mundo.
Nice, okay.
Because here's the thing. Say what you want, win, lose, or draw, it doesn't matter. He looked absolutely incredible tonight. He looked like a freaking warrior. He proved that he was the toughest son of a gun in this promotion. And he is by far the most over babyface in this promotion with this crowd.
It's so awesome that we finally arrived and in a great place too that I love watching, whether Mundo's a part of it or not. So many great talents here, and yeah, it's just awesome, especially for a Johnny Mundo mark like myself. But with that said, you pretty much got all your concluding remarks out, correct, Ashton?
Yes, sir.
I got nothing else to say either. So guys, with that said, this has been Lucha Underground. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my cohort in commentary, Ashton. Guys, comment and subscribe on YouTube. What did you think of Lucha Underground this week? Ashton answered the question. I want to hear from you. What storyline are you most interested in seeing play out? Be sure to take the discussion over to Pweetoff, an amazing pro wrestling group, some of the nicest and most passionate wrestling fans you'll ever meet on the web. And be sure to tune in again for our NXT review, where Finn Balor and Hideo Itami go one-on-one, and the question looms, can we even handle it? Yeah, right. So until then, tune in, and peace out.